Nice to have you with us. I'm Leland Vittert. There's new information tonight that the crisis at our southern border is getting worse. And as we speak, there's another caravan heading north. Right now, 200,000 people a month are caught coming into America illegally. That's roughly the population of Birmingham, Alabama. Many, if not most, are released into the United States on what's called a notice to appear. As we reported last month when we were at the Border Patrol is so overwhelmed, they no longer patrol, but mostly just process all those folks coming across. Law enforcement sources tell me that for every person they catch, at least one makes it into the United States. So now we are at a grand total of 400,000 a month coming into the country. That's roughly the population of Tampa, Florida. Again, these are facts. Outlets fail to recognize the humanitarian problem. Left-wing outlets fail to assign blame. It is indisputably true that the recent surge in illegal immigration is brought about by President Biden's policies that incentivize cartels to take advantage of the least fortunate who only want a better life in America. That's not me saying it. That's the migrants themselves. Here's one man from Nigeria interviewed as he made his way through Mexico towards the United States.
You wouldn't have tried this journey. You would have submitted yourself to the Nigerian government under the Trump administration to kill you.
He will turn me back. He will not allow me to enter.
And now you say Biden is a good man?
He's a good man.
And he's going to let you in?
Yeah, he listens to the pharmacists.
And that's what they're counting on. We've come over to the touch screen. This is where the caravan is right now. Started off in southern Mexico, making its way to Mexico City. That's a couple thousand miles journey. They will get there in Mexico City, and then they will reconvene for a trip up north. We'll switch the maps here. That's another 837 miles. Depends on where they're going. This is around Del Rio, Texas, which is where the Haitian migrants ended up. McAllen, Texas, down here where we spent our time on the border, is a lot closer. Now I want to show you where they're going to head once they go across the border. We'll come over here. These are the cities around America that have the largest immigrant population, both legal and illegal immigrants. Los Angeles, 33% of that city is an immigrant. Miami, 40%. Houston, 23%. A lot of the folks from Texas, we understand, end up in Houston. It's not just the big cities, though, that you would consider border cities. You'd think about Miami and Los Angeles. Take a look over here. Columbus, Ohio, 8% of their population, new immigrants. Bridgeport, Connecticut, 22% there. Moses Lake, Washington, big center, 18%. Also towns like Omaha, Nebraska. Cities in central parts of the United States, they get huge amounts of illegal immigrants coming there. They take flights out of McAllen, Texas, out of Del Rio, and then out of Yuma, Arizona as well, bus tickets as well. We want to get back to the caravan that we've been talking about. We start with reporter Allie Bradley, who is traveling with the caravan. So how does it work, Allie? You're with them. Are most folks walking, driving? What happens?
There, I can tell you, Leland, first of all, thank you for having me. But second of all, no one is driving. That is something that is not allowed at all in this caravan. In 2019, we did see some people on tractors, on ATVs and carts and things like that. They are all on foot right now, and we are 5 days in, and they have only made 36 miles of progress. So you showed that map, a really, really long way to go to get to Mexico City still. And Mexico City is just that first kind of place that they're going to stop, like you mentioned, and then they're going to reconvene. But what they're trying to do in Mexico City is get this protection claim validated through a judge. And that's why they're not being stopped at all. They have been met one time with opposition from about 400 Mexican National Guard here. And these 5,000 plus migrants at that time basically barreled through 400 National Guard within seconds. Those folks were forced to just basically stand there, because if they violate this protection claim, it takes away their rights from them able to go and see a judge. So they are moving freely. Today, we walked right through a checkpoint. I'm going to tell you, it was one of the wildest things I've experienced. We went right through an immigration customs checkpoint with not a single law enforcement individual having one conversation with the migrant. They were actually there taking photos.
Wow, it's certainly a change from the time during the Trump administration when there was a lot of pressure put on Mexico to shut these caravans down. I'm interested in the politics of this, because we want to go back to the soundbite we played earlier in which you talked to Jonathan from Nigeria about the differences he felt between coming to America or trying to come to America under President Trump versus President Biden. Take a listen. We'll get your reaction.
You wouldn't have tried this journey. You would have submitted yourself to the Nigerian government under the Trump administration to kill you.
He will turn me back.
He would turn back.
Yeah, he will not allow me to enter.
And now you say Biden is a good man?
He's a good man.
And he's going to let you in?
Yeah, he listens to the pharmacists.
Is Jonathan unusual in feeling that way, or are there other folks who are talking about new president, new policies?
You know, when we first got here, when we first hit the ground in Tapachula, Leland, they were carrying a sign that says Joe Biden is for all. Several migrants that I talked to, they have that notion that that is what's going to happen, that they know. We asked them, we said, the borders are closed. They're not letting people in. They're turning people back. And they said, well, we think that Mr. Biden will change his mind by the time we get up there. They're saying they're going to be in Mexico City in about 20 days. So they're hoping, quote, Mr. Biden will change his mind because he's a good man and he'll let us in. Now, when I talk to people like Jonathan and talk to other people from West Africa, from Ghana, Nigeria, we're talking a lot of people from that area are who I'm communicating with, and also a lot of Venezuelans. Now, those people, a lot of them have that legitimate asylum claim that you were talking about. They're fleeing persecution. So those people tell me they are not worried at all about being turned back. They tell me that Mr. Biden is going to let them in because he is going to honor his promises that he campaigned on. If you have a valid claim of asylum, we'll hear you out and we'll listen. But I'm going to tell you this, Leland. This caravan here is very different than the Haitian one we saw come into Del Rio. This is right now, one of the leaders here, Luis Villagran, is telling us it's about 6,000. It's very heavy women and children. We have about 1,700 kids within this caravan, 63 pregnant women. This is what they're calling the March of the Children. So it is a very different caravan, and it is also majority of them are from Central America. So a lot of them have those economic claims. They just want to work here.
The caravan leader has a way of branding things, you might say. He's done this before. I only got about 30 seconds, Allie. You're doing such great reporting down there. Tell us sort of the difference of the attitude of this caravan. You know, we've gone from give us our tired and poor to it's our right to come to America and we're going to fight our way in. How'd that happen?
Yeah. You know, I think that honestly, it is what is being told to them. It is word of mouth for everybody. And a lot of these folks already have people in the States that are family members. So they're saying, hey, they got in, we can go in. And, you know, this is something that they're allowing right now. This is what they think is their legal path. I asked some of them, why not do it legally? And they were taken aback. They said, what do you mean? And they said, we were called to do this. So it's a very different vibe and energy. But a lot of the people from West Africa, they're like, we're not going to get turned back. We have a legitimate claim. We deserve to have a better life in the U.S.
We deserve is an interesting feeling from those asking for help. Allie, thank you. Incredible reporting. Keep it up. That is the sound of sustained automatic weapons fire. It was recorded a few days ago on the Mexico side of the border as cartels battled for control of the routes to smuggle both people and drugs. For the cartels, this is boom times. They charge between a few thousand and $20,000 for every man, woman, and child who come across the border. So everybody in that caravan, they'll get paid for. That is 100% profit. They control the border on the Mexico side. Plus, the Border Patrol, Texas State Troopers, and National Guard is now overwhelmed by the flow of people, so it's a lot easier to traffic drugs across the border. Governor Greg Abbott says the Biden administration is, in his words, AWOL and leaving the state to fend for itself. So Texas Department of Public Safety is preparing for this migrant caravan. They've set up armored vehicles along the Rio Grande, even though the group is still more than 1,000 miles away. And of course, the preparations are happening while troopers are dealing with migrants who've already made it through. This is new video from the Texas State Troopers showing some who were caught trying to enter the United States in a train. That's where they were hiding out before they were caught. We're joined now by one of the men charged with protecting the border, Lieutenant Chris Oliveris of the Texas State Troopers. Lieutenant, appreciate you being with us here. Have you seen any of the types of attitudes that Allie was talking about in this change of people saying, please help me, to we deserve to be here?
So one thing, thanks for having me. And of course, great reporting by Allie. And of course, as she mentioned, this group is very different compared to the Haitian group. This group is very the actual leader of this group has it very strategic to where they have QR codes, which we have never seen that before. So they're very strategic in how they're moving this caravan along. But what we're dealing with, what our Texas State Troopers are dealing with, are the individuals that are getting across, single adults that are avoiding detection and apprehension. So we're seeing these individuals travel through ranches and board trains to try to move further inland. And that's what we're seeing in the Del Rio sector right now. So that's our primary focus for now. And of course, in preparation for this caravan, we have the Texas State Troopers and Texas National Guard at those ports of entry in Del Rio and Eagle Pass, and taking a proactive measure in preparation for this potential caravan.
We're watching a number of different videos from when you and I were together down on the border together, and some of the folks that we caught. I'm most interested in some of the folks that perhaps also get through that are mixed in with the women and children. A law enforcement source showed us this picture of somebody who was on the terror watch list, who was apprehended, and by chance, turns out once we figured out who he was on the terror watch list. Thankfully, he was caught. How many folks do you figure come through for every person or piece of drug paraphernalia or drugs themselves that you catch?
You know, it's kind of hard to pinpoint an actual number on it, but I can tell you right now, I was in Del Rio these past several days, working those train yards, working the ranches, and we've come across numerous massive amounts of people, individuals that are boarding these trains and ranches. And we have criminal gang members, individuals that have ties to transnational criminal organizations that are mixed in with these groups. Some are single adult females. We've even encountered juveniles, 16, 17-year-olds that are mixed in with these groups as well. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly how many are getting across, but I can tell you now, massive amounts are getting across, and it's only what we're catching. And the ones that we're not catching are part of those gotaways, which we're now, I believe CBP reported over 400,000 gotaways just for the fiscal year. So that's a large amount of people that are getting by us that we have no idea who they are and where they're headed to.
Obviously, Governor Abbott has ordered the National Guard out, and you all as well, to leave some of your other law enforcement duties and to come down to the border. I understand the criticism of the Texas State Troopers aren't doing enough, but at some point, are you doing everything you can? And it just shows how overwhelming the problem is that folks are still being able to get through.
And we are. And one thing that the American people don't understand is that we can only operate on state property. Where we're making these arrests, we have to get consent from landowners on state property to make these arrests for criminal trespass. On federal property, we have no access. We're unable to enforce any laws on federal property because the federal government is not allowing us to do that. And of course, every time Governor Greg Abbott tries to launch an initiative or some type of executive order, it always gets challenged by the federal government. So again, he's doing the best that he can as far as providing resources and support to Texas State Troopers and National Guard. And we're doing as much as we can with what we're able to provide. But again, it all comes down to the federal government not allowing us to gain access to some of those areas to enforce laws. And that's a challenge right there.
I know the challenges are numerous, and we always appreciate you coming on to talk about us with us. Lieutenant, good to see you as always. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Always appreciate it. China has successfully completed a first test of an underwater port bomb. They also have a hypersonic missile. Could it be a Sputnik moment? What that means for the United States, and why the GOP thinks education is now a winning topic for them. Fiery moments on Capitol Hill as some Republican senators demanded Attorney General Merrick Garland resign over his memo targeting parents protesting school board meetings. The showdown over parents' rights and critical race theory is taking center stage in the Virginia governor's race. Shows you just how important this is for Republicans. A poll from NewsNation, Nexstar Media, and Emerson College shows Republican Glenn Youngkin and Democrat Terry McAuliffe now in a dead heat. 49-49. The election is less than a week away, and it stunned the political establishment that it is this close. NewsNation Washington correspondent Kelly Meyer live in D.C., starting with what the fight is on Capitol Hill. Kelly, good evening.
Good evening, Leland. Well, this was Republicans' moment to get a response from Attorney General Merrick Garland on something they deem is a winning strategy for their party. Republicans grilled Garland surrounding the issue of schools, saying parents' voices aren't being protected.
You have weaponized the FBI and the Department of Justice. Your U.S. attorneys are now collecting and cataloging all the ways that they might prosecute parents like Mr. Smith because they want to be involved in their children's education and they want to have a say in their elected officials. It's wrong. It is unprecedented, to my knowledge, in the history of this country, and I call on you to resign.
Hawley is referring to an assault case in Loudoun County, Virginia, which has become ground zero for protests surrounding school curriculum and COVID measures. Leland?
Yeah, a lot of questions about the cover-up of that sexual assault on campus. Obviously, put that aside for a second, what's happening on Capitol Hill. Focus now on Virginia and how Republicans have figured out that they can turn the education issue on its head for Democrats. How is this playing in the Virginia governor's race?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, look at this recent poll. Education is the #1 issue to Virginia voters. Youngkin has really focused his campaign on schools. He's hosted rallies to, quote, save our schools, and saying he will ban critical race theory on day one. It's an issue that's getting parents really fired up. Protests breaking out at school board meetings. McAuliffe has focused more of his campaign on the fight against Donald Trump and the coronavirus pandemic, but at last night's rally, he did talk about schools, saying Youngkin is capitalizing on parents' fears for votes.
He wants to pit parents against parents, parents against teachers. He wants to bring his personal culture wars into our classrooms.
Staff from McAuliffe passed out copies of this book, a novel about a woman who escaped slavery that Youngkin said he would be banning in his most recent ad. There are so few persuadable voters left with that 40-49 tie you mentioned. Now it all comes down to turnout. Leland?
Yeah, the ad dollars are certainly being spent on that. Kelly Meyer in Washington, great reporting. We'll see you on the trail tomorrow. Thank you. It's very clear Terry McAuliffe is trying to make this not about critical race theory, but about teachers. Take a listen.
Glenn Youngkin has done nothing but run down our teachers since this campaign started. So let me say this to all the teachers here in Virginia. We love you, we appreciate you, and you are the true heroes of this COVID crisis.
Although many of them didn't go to the classroom for a year or so, but maybe they're heroes in Terry McAuliffe's book. Why is this McAuliffe's strategy? Because teacher unions have always been some of the biggest supporters and the most loyal supporters of the Democratic Party, especially the establishment part of the Democratic Party. Asra Nomani, Virginia parent who's been fighting the teachers union, VP of Strategy Investigations for Parents Defending Education. Good to see you. Terry McAuliffe says this is about your personal culture wars. What do you think he means, and are you on a personal culture war?
This is about our children. This is about a fight for our babies. This is a fight for America. You know, these are parents, including me, who were accidental activists in the summer of 2020 when we found out that remote learning was going to send our kids into the bedroom watching, you know, their teachers on laptops. We discovered that they were going to be bringing ideas of divisiveness and critical race theory into the classroom by fall. And then by the springtime, we realized that there was just a antagonism against parents that was shutting us down at school boards. And now we know this to be true because the National School Board Association put out this edict, you know, calling on the Justice Department and the White House to turn the FBI against us. Everything that we feared has come out to be true. And what inspires us, though, is our children. And that is why this is a mama bear, papa bear revolution that they cannot underestimate.
Well, we're certainly seeing that in school board meetings all over the country. One person on my staff said, gee, maybe we could make school board meetings boring again, is an idea. But at some point, there's certain commentators who are dismissing your claims as, and fears, concerns, whatever you want to call them, as nothing more than political talking points.
Well, you know, you would think that President Obama, Chris Cuomo, Terry McAuliffe somehow forgot what it meant to be a parent. You know, it's a sacred duty. And these are not talking points for us. This is not some political directive by anybody written for us. We don't wake up at dawn to get our kids out of bed, nurse them through the night in order to just let this go. I mean, we are in it for the struggle of our children, and that is exactly what we are fighting to defend and protect.
What do you think it says about what's happening in the country that suddenly you have seen this enormous explosion of Republican energy over the issue of schools in Virginia ahead of this race? Schools for decades was sort of a nonpartisan issue, and if anything, it was a Democratic Party issue.
Yeah, Leland, it's a great question because I've watched this transition happen over this past year. In June 2020, I spoke to my own school board for the first time ever. I didn't know any of their names, and there was hardly anybody showing up for the school board meetings. They were virtual, but people didn't sign up for them. And then slowly, you know, what happened is that parents recognized that it was a school board that was making the decision on whether the kids were going to go back to school. Then they found out that it was the governor who was going to be deciding whether or not the kids were going to be wearing masks or not. And then they figured out, oh, actually it was the Virginia Department of Education that was going to pull back accelerated math. And so parents had this awakening. And with that, perhaps Republican politicians and others recognized that this was a constituency that they could tap. And you know, that is the calculation that all political parties make. Unfortunately, with the Democratic Party, they have decided that we are disposable, and that's very unfortunate. I came to Virginia as a Democrat. I only came in the winter of 2008 after the state had voted for Barack Obama as president. And what I have seen is, over these past days, is such a dismissal and a real demonization of parents.
Yeah, you said it best when you said taken for granted, which is something that nobody wants to feel. Certainly nobody wants to feel as though their vote's taken for granted. Asra, always a great conversation.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leland.
A sudden and mysterious illness is crippling U.S. service members, diplomats, and spies. Will an attack come ahead of President Biden's trip? This is President Biden's getting ready to leave for Europe. Democrats' hope for a spending deal appear to be falling apart. Why that matters to you when we come back. Democrats are on the verge of missing yet another self-imposed deadline on their massive spending bill. It's gone from $3.5 trillion to now less than $2 trillion. President Biden heads to Europe tomorrow without a deal, at least so far. Democrats are also reportedly abandoning plans to include paid family leave in that $2 trillion bill. It's now being called a major blow to President Biden's agenda. The billionaire tax, appears to also be dead on arrival, or as my friend Mike Allen says, RIP billionaire tax 2021, 2021. Joining us now, Sarah Muha, Axios political reporter. Boy, it just seems as though all the non-negotiables from progressives are suddenly now negotiable.
Isn't that right? And we've seen this film before, right? We were here a month ago with the surface transportation deadline coming up against, Democrats coming up against that deadline, and then needing to pass a stopgap funding bill so that they could have another month to negotiate. That bill runs out on October 31st, and it doesn't look like they're going to have a deal by that date. So they're going to likely have to pass yet another stopgap bill and maybe kick this can down the road once again.
Well, kicking the can down the road is what gives all of us jobs, because then we can talk about it and report on it. Pablo Manriquez last night was on previewing why we know that Democrats don't have a deal. Take a listen.
The Progressive Caucus is sticking to their guns with the 5 pillars, their 5 negotiating pillars. It's unclear, I think, to Nancy Pelosi's vote count, how many people are in this Premier Jayapal Ilhan Omar vote whip count.
Nancy Pelosi is the best vote counter and vote whipper almost. It's been there since, she almost have to go back to like Lyndon Johnson or something. Mm-hmm. What's happening? Is the Progressive Caucus intentionally playing hide the ball, or they just can't control their members?
So listen, today, Pramila Jayapal, she's the Congressional Caucus, the Progressive Caucus chair. She said that their two requirements are that they need a promise by President Biden that all 50 senators are going to vote on that reconciliation package. So they don't need anymore a vote in the Senate. They just want President Biden's word that he will get all 50 of his Democratic senators on board with that. And then the second part is that they need a House vote on both the infrastructure, the bipartisan bill, and the social spending bill, which is also being called the reconciliation bill or the Build Back Better package. Any of those names, it's all the same thing. And they want a vote on both of those things on the same day. Now, she said it doesn't have to be first. It can be even 3 hours later, but those are their demands. And she said that they have dozens of members behind them, and pretty much every progressive.
Sarah, what's interesting, and I think this is sort of what's weird, is that it feels a little bit like the House progressives are negotiating against themselves now. You know, a month ago, they weren't willing to give anything away. Nothing was negotiable. And now all of a sudden, paid family leave is gone. No longer are they demanding a vote in the Senate, on and on. How did the power dynamic shift?
Well, I think they saw that they weren't going to get some of the things that they need. And what they would argue is that this is all part of the negotiation process, that you dig in your heels until you can't dig them in anymore and hope that maybe some of those provisions that you hoped for will still stick. And even Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, who is leading the charge on paid family leave, as she was leaving the Senate today, she said, well, maybe Senator Manchin, we could still get him on board. He's going to go back and read about what other countries are doing, and maybe we can get him still. So they're arguing that it's still not out. Senator Manchin is saying, well, I'm not sure, I think it's still out. So we still actually don't even have a firm idea, though it does look like it's probably going to be taken out.
Yeah, well, we're seeing the sausage being made, that's for sure. Sarah, thank you. Good to see you. As we mentioned, President Biden leaves for Rome tomorrow, the United Kingdom, later in the week and over the weekend. Obviously, the Secret Service is on high alert, as always. But now there is a new and dangerous threat. They're called directed energy attacks against U.S. diplomats and spies, sometimes happening just ahead of high-level visits. It happened a couple of weeks ago in Bogota, Colombia, before the Secretary of State went there. Happened in Vietnam before the vice president arrived. Just hours before, somebody was using these very high-powered weapons that make you feel like you're having the worst migraine of your life and throw up, and incapacitating U.S. spies and diplomats. It's happened all over the world, happened in Washington in 2020. One of the people it happened to first was former CIA officer Mark Polymeropoulos, who joins us now. Mark, it's called often Havana syndrome. How much of this is trying to sort of give people a year-long headache? How much of this is trying to take American spies off the field of play?
So first of all, it's good to be here again. Look, I like what the way Senator Collins characterized it. She says it's an act of war, because for myself, I was a 26-year veteran of the CIA. I was in the Senior Intelligence Service, and it caused me to retire, and it's caused me to have, in essence, blinding headaches for 4 years now. A lot of my colleagues in the diplomatic service and in the intelligence community as well, have really been incapacitated. These are injuries that cause you to end your career. So it's pretty serious. And I think, obviously the U.S. government is taking it that way now.
So, Mark, right now the latest reporting is that it's Russia perhaps behind this. And it's either Russia, Cuba, or China. Going consensus right now among the intel community is Russia. What would be their motivation for doing this? What's their end game here?
Sure. So, well, first of all, Russia has had these kind of weapons for decades. I mean, the notion that we call it Havana syndrome is because, it became more prominent based on what happened at the U.S. Embassy in Havana, Cuba in 2016. But in reality, this has happened to U.S. Diplomatic personnel in Moscow. Now, the embassy was bathed with microwave attacks for years as part of the signals intelligence collection system. So, but the answer is, why would they do that? Well, Vladimir Putin has, he's not abiding by any diplomatic norms. So I think it makes a lot of sense. This is to incapacitate, U.S. officials abroad, but it's part of a broader campaign. I mean, Russia acts as a pariah state, whether it's interfering in elections, whether it's trying to kill its own dissidents, while it's trying to kill, some of the.
It also makes it a
go
lot
ahead.
harder for U.S. spies like yourself to operate if you realize when we send people out into the world that the Russians can do this without being caught, without seeing it. We put the map up of where all of these attacks have happened. Vienna, Austria, Vietnam, a couple of other countries as well, down in Colombia. What do you make of these attacks now happening in the hours before you get a vice president or a secretary of state showing up in the city?
So to me, it seems like an escalation for sure. It's a message from our adversaries, from an adversary, that nobody is safe. And I'm pretty confident that both the diplomatic security service as well as the Secret Service are very concerned about this. Reportedly, one of the staff members of CIA Director Bill Burns was hit on a trip that he had in a hotel room. That's pretty extraordinary. And I think this is causing people in the U.S. government and certainly in kind of the protective cadre to take this very, very seriously.
Well, as well they should. We wait and see what happens as the president heads abroad. Mark, thank you for the perspective.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. New Chinese propaganda is flaunting a bomb. That's what the bomb does. There's the video. Why this is especially troubling to U.S. troops. And tonight on Prime, the strange and almost inexplicable mystery of a Texas college student who left his college apartment for a short trip home in December but never arrived. Latest on his search when we come back. It may not really seem like much, but that's a propaganda video from China's Communist Party showing off their new toy, an underwater explosive capable of destroying ports. The flaunt of military power comes on the heels of several military advancements by China, including the successful test fire of a nuclear-capable hypersonic weapons system back in August that could evade U.S. missile defenses. Bill Waltz joins us now, Congressman as well. Good to see you, sir. We appreciate it. What do you make overall of China showing all this stuff off? Because it doesn't seem to be a coincidence in the timing.
No, it doesn't. And I think that's as much for internal consumption, where Xi is having some domestic problems, as it is for external. But look, Leland, this hypersonic weapon is incredibly serious. And what people need to understand is it's almost like a maneuverable bullet that can fly below our space radars that would normally detect an ICBM, but then maneuver around our ground radars. So it can hit us without us even seeing it. It can hit us within seconds, and it can hit us anywhere in the world. They can even put it up in space for some indeterminate amount of time and just let it orbit for a while, and then it falls to Earth so fast our missile defenses can't see it. So this is a nuclear first strike weapon. Our defenses are incredibly challenged to be able to detect it, much less stop it. And we need a real wake-up call, because this is a culmination of 20 years of stealing our research technology, our intellectual property, advanced materials, artificial intelligence, and now the chickens are coming home to roost.
The general said it was not or the chairman, I should say, said it was not a Sputnik moment. If it's not, based on your description, why not?
Well, there's some people out there saying, look, this technology has existed for years. Some of it was used in the space shuttle. And that's true. That's fine. But they have mastered the ability to weaponize it, and they've done it faster than we can. So this is an incredible blow to nuclear deterrence. Again, we can't stop it defensively. The only way we can is to develop our own, and we need to accelerate that. We've actually funded that from Congress, but there's going to be a gap of time where they have something that we don't. And in nuclear deterrence, that's critical.
Yeah, having something that we don't is a scary way to end this. Congressman, good to see you as always. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Leland.
The FDA has now approved the COVID-19 vaccine for kids. So what mandates will they enforce? That's next.
It's always nerve-wracking, I think, when you're asked to make a decision for millions of children based on studies of only a few thousand children.
That was a member of the FDA panel that approved Pfizer's COVID vaccine for children, which was found 91% effective The FDA regulators agree with their recommendation. Kids between the ages of 5 and 11 could get the shots as early as next week. Obviously, there have been a lot of angles to the COVID story. One thing that it has brought about is our understanding of what nurses do. Joining us now, James Patterson, co-author of ER Nurses, True Stories from America's Greatest Unsung Heroes, probably also offer an add to the title, Selfless Heroes. Great to see you, America's best-selling author. How much of this book came from about nurses and how much came because of the pandemic?
We started with the nurses, and only at the end of the interviews, we interviewed over 100 people, and 57 are in the book. They're mind-blowing stories. People have we celebrate nurses, but unsung is the key. We don't really understand what they do. They pull one curtain back, somebody's having a heart attack. The next curtain, somebody put their eye out. The next curtain, somebody burnt their. It's just an insane lifestyle. If anybody was ready for COVID, it's the ER nurses.
What was the most surprising thing that came out or theme?
Well, I think there are two things in particular. One is just the intensity of what they do and the stories, which range from, a woman or a nurse who insisted, she fell in love with this man and woman. The man was dying. And she said to the wife, what's the most special thing? She said, well, he loves his dog. So she snuck the golden retriever into the hospital, and the dog is, the nurse and the couple are crying, and the dog is licking the tears off the man's face. And so there's a lot of heartwarming stories like that. And nurses, one of the nurses, she gave the book to her mother, and her mother came over to the house the next day, and the mother was crying and saying, I had no idea how incredible you are, how special your job is. We don't understand what nurses do. We celebrate them, but we don't know what we're celebrating.
Until perhaps you need them, which is what I found out when I was in the hospital with COVID, just how spectacular they are and what incredible work they do. Interestingly, how do you feel like the pandemic has changed our view of nurses?
Well, we're paying a little bit more attention now. But as I say, we thank them, but we don't know what we're thanking them for. And we need to thank them more, especially emergency room nurses, because people, they get discharged or they go upstairs and they never have time to really come by and say, oh my God, thank you for being such a special person and helping me when I was really in need, it was a bad day in my life. I'm in the emergency room. Nobody wants to be there.
Yeah, well, that is for sure. What do you make of the fact, and I'm wondering what some of the people you've interviewed would think now about how we went from so quickly celebrating nurses to firing some of them because of the mandates?
Oh, look, here's the thing for me on the vaccine. I'm vaccinated. I'm old. I'm not going to tell nurses what to do. People have to make their choice. I think for a lot of people, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Firing people, firing nurses, I don't know, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Fair enough. Or was there any nurse that you talked to for the book that had some kind of crisis over the vaccine and how she dealt with it?
No, well, not really. But what you did hear over and over and over again were stories of people that weren't vaccinated and were dying and saying how stupid they were not to get vaccinated as they were dying. And that story you did hear again, over and over and over again. And I know there are some nurses that don't want to get vaccinated. And there's some validity, I'm sure, to some of their situations.
Obviously, you've written a number of nonfiction books. You're best known for your fiction books. In reporting on COVID and on the nurses, is there any sort of greater themes that came out that will make their way into coming Patterson novels? Is there going to be a virus in a lab somewhere that escapes?
I don't think so. But I'll tell you, for people, if you like the Alice Cross and Women's Murder Club, this is just as intense. They're just amazing stories from these nurses, one after the other. And it really moves like crazy. All my books, this is a page turner. Sebastian Junger, who's a wonderful author, and he said it was one of the most moving books he's ever read, and it really is. Their stories, their lives, it's incredible stuff.
Is it harder to write this than it is to write the fiction you're known for?
No, I wouldn't say it's harder. I mean, the beauty of this, and the reason I can brag on it is, I mean, these are their stories. I didn't make this stuff up. And you didn't have to, and you couldn't make up these stories. I mean, it's just, you know, I don't have time to tell a couple of them, but I mean, there are some killers here. The pregnant man story, there's some, I mean, you know, Kevorkian pulls up and the police arrest him.
Wow.
A guy that has a machete under his mattress in the hospital. He turns out to be a serial killer. I mean, there's just unbelievable stories.
Yeah, fiction has to make sense. The truth doesn't.
I could make them up. I could make them up.
If anybody could, you could. James Patterson, the book is ER Nurses. It's good to see you, sir. Thank you. Tomorrow we head out to the campaign trail in the Virginia governor's race. We're live with Governor Youngkin on the trail tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.